In this activity, we're going to think about our own learning styles. You will get to answer the question, how do I like to learn? Adults don't necessarily learn like little kids. They come to something new with habits, beliefs, established patterns, and experiences that shape how they learn. And all of us have different ways they like to learn. Some adults like to read the directions, others put them aside. Some learn best while watching another person, and others just want to jump in and try it. As you explore adult learning principles to enhance your coaching practices, it's helpful for you to reflect on your own learning preferences. The following model we're presenting is adapted from David Kolb's Learning Styles Inventory. As we go through all the styles, think about yourself and how you like to learn new information. Also keep in mind that these learning styles represent preferences, not necessarily strengths and weaknesses. And each style is valid, meaning there's no better style over another. It's very likely that people draw from more than one style, depending on a number of factors. Kolb's model starts by looking at two key dimensions, perceiving and processing. Perceiving describes our preferred means of acquiring new information and spans the continuum vertically here from concrete experiences, for example, feeling and seeing, to abstract thinking or analyzing and brainstorming. Processing refers to how we make sense of things and spans our horizontal continuum here from active experimenting, like doing and practicing, to reflective observation or listening, watching, and reflecting. We can use those extremes to help us determine our style. See how many of these items from each side of the continuum fit you, and we'll use that information to come up with your style. Go ahead and take a look at the handout that fits this slide that's in your resource list for this week. So let's explore these extremes. When I'm a concrete experiencer, I like to listen and share experiences, understand personal benefits, read examples, work together on practical activities, and practice with paper and pencil. When I'm a reflective observer, I like to watch you or a video demonstrate, listen to your explanations, problem solve the how, read about it, use checklists, hear how others do it. When I'm an abstract thinker, I like to read and discuss, generate ideas, gather data, draw it out, understand how it works, find and research information about it, or think it over. And last, but not least, when I'm an active experimenter, I like to practice, get feedback after trying, review data about how it works, set goals and timelines, ask questions, and problem solve. So take a moment and make sure you've checked off what you think fits you, so when we move on, you'll be able to figure out your learning style. Kolb used those dimensions to develop his learning styles. He put those styles in the quadrants shared by the dimensions. Find your style by picking the quadrant where you chose the most things that sounded like you. So, for instance, if you sounded more like you were somewhere between concrete experiencing and active experimenting, you would fit the first quadrant, the accommodating activists. This group learns best when becoming fully involved with simulations and case studies. They are intuitive problem solvers who rely on others for information and analysis. They prefer hands-on activities and rely on intuition rather than logic. They're attracted to new challenges and experiences. They prefer to work in teams, set targets, and actively work in the field, trying different ways to achieve an objective. If we move down to the lower left and you fell somewhere between active experimenting and abstract thinking, you might be a converger. These are pragmatists interested in finding the practical application of ideas. They enjoy problem solving and making decisions by finding solutions to questions and problems. They tend to prefer technical tasks over social and interpersonal issues. They learn well in laboratories and through field work, and like to experiment with new ideas to simulate and to work with practical applications. Moving to the lower right between abstract thinking and reflective observation, we find the assimilators. They are theorists who enjoy working with ideas and constructing models. They tend to be concise and logical and are more concerned with abstract concepts than their practical or human implications. They learn well with lectures, papers, and analytical models. They require a good, clear explanation rather than practical opportunity, and they excel at understanding wide ranging information and organizing it in a clear, logical format. And finally, in the upper right, between reflective observation and concrete experiencing, we have the divergers. They prefer to learn by observing and making sense of experiences. They enjoy lectures and benefit from recording their thoughts in a learning log. Divergers are imaginative and tend to be interested in people and their emotions. They are able to look at things from different perspectives and are sensitive. They prefer to watch rather than do, tending to gather information and use imagination to solve problems. Kolb called it divergent because these people perform better in situations that require ideas generation, for example, brainstorming. They prefer to work in groups, to listen with an open mind, and receive personal feedback. So, did you find your learning style? Do you fall across more than one, or are there situations where you think, I probably learned better that way, but a different way in another situation? All of that is probable and likely. It's good for us to have a working idea, though, of how we learn best, not just for our own benefit, but to help us see the assumptions we might make when we're working with other adult learners. When you're working with a family caregiver, they're learning from you, and the way you present information to them might be the way you learn best, but maybe not the way they learn best. With this in mind, we can make some adjustments to how we approach those adults. You can try to determine their learning style in a variety of ways, asking how they would prefer to get information, or just by observing how they do with the information you are providing. For adults who like to watch and not practice, you might need to demonstrate longer and then problem solve before they're willing to move to caregiver practice. For those caregivers that want to jump right in and try, they might need more reflection after practicing so they can decide what worked and what didn't. One final consideration: you asking about learning preferences may be something they aren't used to thinking about. You may need to do a little trial and error to find the right path so you and your adult learner are getting what they need to support their new learning. Good luck!